The Tailor of Gloucester by Beatrix Potter. Today we're going to be talking about part 3 of this story, where we will finally meet the tailor's pet cat and meet some of the mice that live nearby. Okay? So before we get to the new part, let's read some of the story that we've already seen and we can review. And remember, there are a lot of difficult words in here. If it's tricky, that's okay. I will tell you the parts that are important to remember, and then some other parts you can just be like, oh, that's something about clothes. So let's get started. The Tailor of Gloucester by Beatrix Potter. In the time of swords and periwigs, in full-skirted coats, with flowered lappets, when gentlemen wore ruffles, in gold-laced waistcoats of paduasoy and taffeta, there lived a tailor in Gloucester. So, what that means, remember, back in a time when people wore lots of fancy, crazy clothes. And a lot of these words are not super important. The main idea is they wore all these fancy things and that there lived a tailor in Gloucester. That's the important part. He sat in the window of a little shop in Westgate Street, cross-legged on a table from morning till dark. All day long, while the light lasted, he sewed and snippeted, piecing out his satin and pompadour and lute string. Stuffs had strange names, and were very expensive in the days of the Tailor of Gloucester. So this old man worked all day and all night, working hard. But although he sewed fine silk for his neighbors, he himself was very, very poor. A little old man in spectacles, with a pinched face, old crooked fingers, and a suit of threadbare clothes. So threadbare means they're falling apart. He cut his coats without waste, according to his embroidered cloth. They were very small ends and snippets that lay about upon the table. 2 narrow breadths for naught, except waistcoats for mice, said the tailor. So he didn't waste anything. There were only little pieces left that maybe a mouse could use, but people couldn't use it because he didn't waste anything. One bitter cold day near Christmas time, the tailor began to make a coat of cherry-colored corded silk, embroidered with pansies and roses, and a cream-colored satin waistcoat, trimmed with gauze and green worsted chenille, for the mayor of Gloucester. So he's making a suit for the mayor of Gloucester, and it's really beautiful and fancy. The tailor worked and worked, and he talked to himself. He measured the silk and turned it round and round, and trimmed it into shape with his shears. The table was all littered with cherry-colored snippets. No breath at all, and cut on the cross. It is no breath at all. Tippets for mice and ribbons for mobs. For mice, said the Tailor of Gloucester. Again, he's saying he doesn't waste anything. The little bits are just enough for a mouse. When the snowflakes came down against the small leaded window panes and shut out the light, the tailor had done his day's work. All the silk and satin lay cut out upon the table. There were 12 pieces for the coat and 4 pieces for the waistcoat. And there were pocket flaps and cuffs and buttons all in order. For the lining of the coat, the inside, there was fine yellow taffeta, and for the buttonholes of the waistcoat, there was cherry-colored twist. and everything was ready to sew together in the morning, all measured and sufficient, except that there was wanting just one single skein of cherry-colored twisted silk. So it's all ready to make the suit, but he just needs one more thing, some silk. The tailor came out of his shop at dark, for he did not sleep there at nights. He fastened the windows and locked the door, click, and took away the key. No one lived there at night but little brown mice, and they run in and out without any keys. For behind the wooden wainscots of all the old houses in Gloucester, there are little mouse staircases and secret trap doors, and the mice run from house to house through those long, narrow passages. They can run all over the town without going into the streets. So the tailor goes home, and the only people left in the house or in the shop are the mice, and they're living in the walls. But the tailor came out of his shop and shuffled home through the snow. He lived quite nearby in College Court, next to the doorway to College Green. And although it was not a big house, the tailor was so poor he only rented the kitchen. He lived alone with his cat. It was called Simpkin. So the tailor goes home, and he only lives in a kitchen. So the poor guy, he doesn't even have like a bedroom. Okay? So now we get to the new part of the story. So the first two parts had lots and lots of tricky words. This part of the story, we get into meeting his pet cat and some of the mice. Okay? So now, all day long, while the tailor was out at work, Simpkin kept house by himself. And he also was fond of the mice, though he gave them no satin for coats. So the tailor is off at the shop working. So while the tailor was out at work, meaning at that time, right? Simpkin, remember, Simpkin is the name of the cat, okay? So Simpkin kept house by himself. To keep house means to take care of the house. Okay? That's it. He just takes care of the house. Maybe he protects the house. He makes sure there are no fires. He cleans the house, maybe. So Simpkin is keeping house while the tailor is out. So Simpkin kept house by himself. And he also was fond of the mice. Do you remember what it means to be fond of something? Well, that means you like them. He also liked the mice. Well, let's say was fond of is the same as liked, right? He also liked the mice. He also was fond of the mice. Same thing. Though he gave them no satin for coats. Here the word though is just like the word but, B-U-T. So he liked the mice, but he didn't give them anything for coats. And remember, satin is another material for making clothes. Okay? Meow. Now we get to Simpkin. Meow, said the cat when the tailor opened the door. Meow. Now, here, the author spells it M-I-A-W, and that's the sound of a cat. Usually, now, remember this story is 100 years old, so maybe things were different. But now, people usually write M-E-O-W. That's the sound of a cat. So it's like meow, meow, meow. That's the sound of a cat. But here, the author wrote it with an I. Same idea. Okay? So, meow, said the cat when the tailor opened the door. The cat's talking to him when he comes home. The tailor replied. So he answered the cat. Simpkin, we shall make our fortune, but I am worn to a raveling. Okay, so still a little bit tricky. We shall make our fortune. A fortune means lots of money. This is a common word. This is a good word to learn. A lot of money. Oops, need to be careful about spacing. So to make a fortune means making tons of money. So this is a good phrase to know. Like if your friend bought some stock and the stock goes up, 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 up. Stock is 股票. So if the stock goes up, 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 you could say, oh my God, my friend made a fortune. Meaning my friend got lots and lots of money. Okay? So, Simpkin, we shall make our fortune, but I am worn to a raveling. This word worn is like the word tired. Do I have space? It's like the word tired. You might hear that someone is worn out. So I'm running out of space on this screen. If someone is worn out, that means they're really tired. Oh, I felt worn out after playing basketball. Okay? That's a good phrase to know. I'll put a line like this so it looks like it's together. But here he just says, I am worn, meaning he's tired. I'm worn to a raveling. This is an old word that nobody uses, so don't worry about that one. Take this groat, which is our last fourpence, and Simpkin, take a china pipkin. Buy a pen'orth of bread, a pen'orth of milk, and a pen'orth of sausages. Okay, here's another part with some weird words, old words. Take this groat, which is our last fourpence, and Simpkin, take a china pipkin. Buy a pen'orth of bread, a pen'orth of milk, and a pen'orth of sausages. Okay, what the heck? Now, there should be one word that you know for sure. You know the word buy. Of course, right? So, the tailor says, take this thing and take this other thing and then go buy bread, milk, and sausages. Okay. So, here, you can kind of guess, okay, take this and go buy something. And then you can guess what this is. So here the word groat is an old kind of money. And you can guess that because we're saying he's poor and he says, oh, it's our last blah, blah, blah. So a groat is a kind of coin. And then fourpence is British money, money from England. They use pence. I don't know about if people still use fourpence, but you might see the word pence talking about money in England. Okay? So the tailor is saying, take this groat, take this coin, and it's our last money, our last fourpence. And then take a china pipkin. China means it's porcelain. What's the word? Ceramic. So all of this stuff, these white cups, these are made of china. China means, I just said it, ceramic. Okay? So a china pipkin looks like this. It's a little dish made of ceramic. Okay? Oh, okay. I don't know that word either, so don't worry. But we can see that it's china. You should know what china means. China with a small c means dishes, like ceramic dishes. Fit it in the screen, Kyle. There. Ceramic dishes. Ceramic means 陶瓷. Come on. I'm struggling today. Sorry. It's been a long day. Okay. So he says, take this groat. So take this money. Take this china. Take this dish. And then what does he want him to do? Buy a pen'orth of bread. Now, pen'orth is not a normal word, but you know it's some bread. A pen'orth of milk. It's some milk. And a pen'orth of sausages. It's some sausages. Now, how much is that? Well, we said that pence is money. So maybe a pen'orth is a pence worth. So that meant 1 pence of bread, 1 pence of milk, 1 pence of sausages. Okay? Anyways, point being, he's giving money to a cat, and then the cat is going to go shopping. That's kind of fun. Okay. And keep going. And oh, Simkin, with the last penny of our 4 pence, there you go, it's penny worth. The last penny of our 4 pence, buy me 1 pen'orth of cherry-colored silk. So he needs this silk for the suit he's making. But do not lose the last penny of the 4 pence, Simpkin, or I am undone and worn to a thread paper, for I have no more twist. Okay. So he's giving money to the cat, and the cat needs to buy milk and bread and sausages just so they can eat. And then he needs to use the last penny to buy some silk, some fabric for making the suit. And then he says, do not lose it. Don't lose that money because it's important. Do not lose the last penny of the 4 pence, or I am undone. Undone means in big trouble. Or like a disaster. I'm undone. It's kind of an old-fashioned way to say like, everything's finished. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm in big trouble. Okay? Here this or is like or else. So don't lose that penny or else I'm undone. Meaning if this is the consequence, this is the problem that will happen. Okay? Okay. Or else I am undone and worn to a thread paper. So we know that worn is tired. And he's just saying he'll be very, very tired and finished. And he says, for I have no more twist. Last time we said that for can mean because in old stories. So he means I'm undone. I'm in big trouble because I have no more twist. We learned last time that twist is a kind of thread. Okay? A thread is a thin string for sewing. And so he needs this kind of thread to make the suit, and this thread is called twist. I have no more twist. So, Simkin, go buy some food, buy some thread, some silk, but don't lose it, because if you don't get that thread, if you don't get that twist, I'm in big, big trouble. I'm undone. I'm finished. Okay. Okay. Then Simkin again said, meow, and took the groat and the pipkin and went out into the dark. So Simkin goes out the door to go shopping. The tailor was very tired and beginning to be ill. He sat down by the hearth and talked to himself about that wonderful coat. So he's beginning to be ill. Ill is another way to say sick. Now people usually use the word sick. Ill is a little bit more formal, but you can still use it. Oh, I feel ill. I feel sick. Same thing. He sat down by the hearth and talked to himself. Well, you can see this picture. What is the hearth? The hearth is the fireplace. That's another name for it. People in America usually use the word fireplace to talk about this, but the hearth is okay too. There's a game I like called Hearthstone, where, what is it? 炉石. Hearth is this kind of thing. Hearthstone. Anyways, nerd moment. Okay. And then the old man is talking to talking to himself. And he's just kind of mumbling, like not really important things, and his ideas are going left and right about many different things. I shall make my fortune. Remember, he means he's going to get rich, make lots of money. I shall make my fortune. To be cut bias. Now, this is not about money. This is about making clothes. So he's thinking about money, then suddenly thinking about clothes. Cut bias means cut sideways, but like an old way of saying that. The mayor of Gloucester is to be married on Christmas Day in the morning, and he hath ordered a coat and an embroidered waistcoat. So the mayor of Gloucester is to be married on Christmas Day. This is just another way to say he is getting married on Christmas Day. And he hath ordered a coat. This is an old way to say he has ordered a coat. So he's just telling himself what's going on. He's just repeating stuff to himself. He hath ordered a coat and an embroidered waistcoat. Remember, embroidered means it's sewed with pretty pictures. On his, it's going to be lots of flowers. To be lined with yellow taffeta. Taffeta's fabric. And the taffeta sufficeth. There is no more left over in snippets that will serve to make tippets for mice. Sufficeth is very old, but we do use the word suffice. Like the taffeta will suffice. Suffice means is enough. So taffeta is one kind of fabric he's using, and he's saying The fabric I have is enough. So it will suffice. It is enough. I don't need more. So again, he's just talking to himself. The taffeta sufficeth. The taffeta is enough. There is no more left over in snippets than will serve to make tippets for mice. This is the same idea we were talking about before. He's using all of it. There will be no more left over. Except little bits that will serve to make tippets for mice. And remember, a tippet is like a little piece of cloth. Maybe like this lady wearing a tippet. Okay? Fluffy, fancy clothes. Then the tailor started. For suddenly, interrupting him from the dresser at the other side of the kitchen, came a number of little noises. Tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap, tip. So the tailor started. What is he starting? Well, this is a different meaning of started. This is like he got startled, which is what I might say. Or here, an easier way to say it is he jumped. So he goes like this. Oh, he got startled. And using the word started is an old way of saying this. Maybe people in England still say it, but he started, meaning he got startled. He got surprised. For suddenly, interrupting him, so he was talking to himself and something interrupted him. It made him stop. From the dresser at the other side of the kitchen came a number of little noises. A number of just means a bunch of, a lot of, or several. Okay? So he got surprised because he suddenly heard a sound. Tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, tap, tip. Now, what can that be? Now, what can that be? Said the Tailor of Gloucester, jumping up from his chair. The dresser was covered with crockery and pipkins, willow pattern plates, and teacups and mugs. Now, some of these are, again, not super important. Crockery means stuff used for cooking. Pipkins, we saw before, is a little dish, but these words are old words. Willow pattern plates. Well, you know what a plate is. A willow is a kind of tree. And so willow pattern plates means a plate with some pictures of plants on them. And teacups and mugs. You should know these two words. A teacup is a cup for tea. A mug is a bigger cup with a handle, like for coffee. Okay. Now, what is this sound? What do we see? The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still beside the dresser, listening and peering through his spectacles. Again, from under a teacup came those funny little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. This is very peculiar, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. Okay, this is getting a little bit easier, right? Less hard vocabulary. It's still tricky, but not crazy like the beginning, right? The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still. Here the word still means not moving. So he was standing still. So he's standing there trying not to move. He's listening and peering through his spectacles. Peering is another word that means looking. But looking maybe for a long time. Or he's looking around, trying to see something. So he's peering through his spectacles. He's trying to see what's happening. Again, from under a teacup came those funny little noises. This is very peculiar. Peculiar is a fun word. People use this. Not often, but it's a good word. Peculiar is a little bit strange and interesting. So, oh, that's peculiar. Like a little bit, it's a little bit strange, but kind of interesting. Okay? So, this is peculiar, said the Tailor of Gloucester. And he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. So, the top was down on the counter. Here we go. Surprise. Out stepped a little live lady mouse and made a curtsy to the tailor. Then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down again by the fire, warming his poor cold hands and mumbling to himself. The waistcoat is cut out from peach-colored satin, tambour stitch, and rosebuds in beautiful floss silk. Was I wise to entrust my last fourpence to Simpkin? 1 in 20 buttonholes of cherry-colored twist. But all at once, from the dresser, there came other little noises. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip. This is passing extraordinary, said the Tailor of Gloucester, and turned over another teacup which was upside down. Okay, so he turns over the first teacup, and out stepped a little live lady mouse. So we're describing this mouse. She's little, she's live, meaning alive, and she's a lady mouse. Well, because you can tell by her beautiful clothes, and made a curtsy to the tailor. A curtsy is what she's doing. A curtsy is a little bow. It's a kind of bow. So if you bend at your waist, that's a bow. If it's a girl, a curtsy, the girl doesn't usually lean over. They kind of just go down and like hold their skirt out a little bit. You can see in the picture, go down, lower your head a little bit, and then hold up the top of the skirt. It's called a curtsy. So she made a curtsy to the tailor. Very cute. Then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. Remember, the wainscot is a wood thing on the wall. So the mouse curtsied to the tailor and then ran away, it back into the wall. Why do you think she curtsied to the tailor? Well, the cup was on top of her. Maybe he set her free. Okay? But the tailor didn't do anything, didn't say anything. He just sat down again and started mumbling to himself again. Mumbling is talking low and quiet. I have to do lots of work. Oh my God, I got a lot to do. That's mumbling. Okay. And then he goes into more detail about, he's talking again about the clothes that he needs to make, right? And so he's going into detail again. I think we can go past this part. We don't need to talk about more fabrics and stuff. Okay, but all at once from the dresser, there came other little noises. So he hears noises again. This is passing extraordinary. So this word, it looks like extraordinary, but it sounds like extraordinary. Extraordinary. I'll take away this. Extraordinary. Okay? So ignore this A. Pretend it's not there. So don't say extraordinary, say extraordinary. Extraordinary means amazing or wonderful. Okay? Extraordinary. Amazing. So this is passing extraordinary. The word passing, we don't use it this way anymore. He means it's very extraordinary or kind of extraordinary. I'm not exactly sure, to be honest, because nobody says it anymore. I think it means like it's quite extraordinary. So what he did, he says, oh, it's amazing. And he turned over another teacup, which was upside down. And what does he find? Dun, dun, dun. Out stepped a little gentleman mouse and made a bow to the tailor. So a lady can curtsy, a gentleman can bow. Okay? And then from all over the dresser came a chorus of little tappings, all sounding together and answering one another, like watch beetles in an old worm-eaten window shutter. Tip-tap, 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 tip. And out from under teacups and from under bowls and basins stepped other and more little mice, who hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. So, the tailor turned over a cup, and there was a little gentleman mouse. Not just one. From all over the dresser came a chorus of little tappings. So, a chorus usually means many voices. Like, if there are 10 people singing together, that's a chorus. But here we mean a chorus of sound. So many, many taps at the same time. All sounding together. So they're tapping all at the same time. And answering one another. Meaning one taps, then the other taps. One taps, then the other tap. Like watch beetles in an old worm-eaten window shutter. So this means it's like a kind of beetle, like a bug, inside of a worm-eaten window shutter. Well, a window can have shutters next to it. So, oh, my beautiful window. Shutters means things on the side that can close. They usually have little lines like this. Those are called shutters. They shut and close the window. And so maybe there are worms in the wood or bugs in the wood. So I guess the author is saying that the tapping of the mice sounds like what can happen with an old window shutter. Okay? Whatever. I don't know how shutters can make these tapping sounds, but whatever. But there's a chorus of sound, lots and lots of sounds. Tip tap, tip tap, tip tap. And out from under teacups and from under bowls and basins. So cups and bowls and basins, which are like kind of like buckets, they lift up. And then what do we see? Out from them stepped other little mice. Other and more little mice. So here, the verb is actually outstepped. Outstepped other and more little mice. They stepped out. They walked out. And those mice hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. So the old man is sitting there, hears tip-tap, 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 tip, and then he goes, checks it out. And then he lifts it up and sees a lady mouse who curtsies to him. And then he finds another one. And there's a gentleman mouse who bows to him. Oh my gosh, so cute. But then there are many, many mice, and they all run away and hide in the wall. And so I think we can pause here for now. Okay? So we got to meet some of our mice. There are these mice, and they're all wearing beautiful clothing, right? And that's kind of fun. Where did they get those clothes? So I'll put a line here. And then then maybe next time the mice come back to listen to the tailor and listen to him talk. And maybe because the mice are good at making these beautiful little clothes, they could help the tailor. And then later, Simpkin will come home with the milk because he went shopping. And then we can see what happens with the mice and the cat and the tailor. Do you think they'll all be friends? Will they help each other? Well, next time we can try reading again. If you're still happy with the story. Now, how about we go back to the new part for today, and I'll read it one more time, and then we can say goodbye for today. Okay? So, let's go back. The tailor is coming home from work. And then we read about Simpkin. And I'll start again. Now, all day long, while the tailor was out at work, Simpkin kept house by himself. And he also was fond of the mice, though he gave them no satin for coats. Meow, said the cat when the tailor opened the door. Meow? The tailor replied, Simpkin, we shall make our fortune, but I am worn to a raveling. Take this groat, which is our last fourpence. And Simpkin, take a china pipkin. Buy a pen'orth of bread, a pen'orth of milk, and a pen'orth of sausages. And oh, Simpkin, with the last penny of our fourpence, buy me 1 pen'orth of cherry-colored silk. But do not lose the last penny of the fourpence, Simpkin, or I am undone and worn to a thread paper, for I have no more twist. So, go shopping, but don't lose any money. Then Simpkin again said, Meow, and took the groat and the pipkin and went out into the dark. The tailor was very tired and beginning to be ill. He sat down by the hearth and talked to himself about that wonderful coat. I shall make my fortune to be cut bias. The mayor of Gloucester is to be married on Christmas Day in the morning, and he hath ordered a coat and an embroidered waistcoat, to be lined with yellow taffeta. And the taffeta sufficeth. There is no more left over in snippets than will serve to make tippets for mice. Then the tailor started, for suddenly, interrupting him from the dresser at the other side of the kitchen, came a number of little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. Now, what can that be? Said the Tailor of Gloucester, jumping up from his chair. The dresser was covered with crockery and pipkins, window pattern plates, and teacups and mugs. The tailor crossed the kitchen and stood quite still beside the dresser, listening and peering through his spectacles. Again, from under a teacup came those funny little noises. Tip-tap, 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 tip. "This is very peculiar," said the Tailor of Gloucester, and he lifted up the teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little live lady mouse and made a curtsy to the tailor. Then she hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. The tailor sat down again by the fire, warming his poor cold hands and mumbling to himself, "Oh, the waistcoat is cut out from peach-colored satin, tambour stitch and rosebuds and beautiful floss silk. Was I wise to entrust my last fourpence to Simpkin? 21 buttonholes of cherry-colored twist." But all at once, from the dresser, there came other little noises. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip. "This is passing extraordinary," said the Tailor of Gloucester, and turned over another teacup, which was upside down. Out stepped a little gentleman mouse and made a bow to the tailor. And then from all over the dresser came a chorus of little tappings, all sounding together and answering one another, like watch beetles in an old worm-eaten window shutter. Tip-tap, tip-tap, tip-tap-tip. And out from under teacups and from under bowls and basins stepped other and more little mice, who hopped away down off the dresser and under the wainscot. And now we can stop there. So, thank you so much for joining today. Next time we can see what happens when the mice and the tailor start to listen to each other. Maybe the mice want to help the tailor try to finish the coat for the mayor. We'll see. So we can stop here for today. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you had a good time. This was a little bit easier than parts 1 and 2, so I hope it was enjoyable. I hope you learned something fun and interesting. And I guess I'll see you next time. So thank you everyone for joining. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.